Welcome to another video. For those of you who are new, my name is Nina and I'm a life coach that specializes in personal development. Here at this channel we talk about everything having to do with life transformation and our emotional well-being. So if you aren't already a subscriber, please take a moment and become one because we definitely want you to be part of our family. So love it or hate it, it's hard to argue that social media is really a breeding ground for a lot of different things that can interfere with our emotional well-being and our mental health as a whole. It can cause a lot of anxiety or stress and cause us to really feel the need to compare ourselves to other people. This can really affect our online life, and it can commonly cause us to engage in what we call attention-seeking behavior. Now this is something, of course, that's really easy to spot in other people or really easy to point out when other people are doing it, but it's a little harder to really take a look at ourselves and see if we ourselves are really taking part in that same behavior. So today we're really going to get to the bottom of it. So we'll talk about firstly all the different ways we might be engaging in this behavior without realizing it, maybe some of the reasons why we may be engaging in it in the first place, and then we'll talk about all the different strategies that we can use to stop this behavior from happening at all. So as always with self-analysis, we need to make sure that we are really being compassionate with ourselves and understanding that there's always a reason for our behavior. So we are just trying to get to the why without judging ourselves. We're just trying to figure out why this is happening and trying to see if there is a pattern of behavior. Also, in this circumstance, we need to keep in mind that there's a good chance that you've engaged in some of these behaviors even if you aren't actually attention seeking. So we have to think about really the motive behind why we're doing it, and that is going to kind of help us discern whether or not this is even problematic for us. We also have to remember that everything is transformable. So if there are things about yourself that you don't like or certain behaviors that you want to change, that is always, always, always possible. So without further ado, let's jump right into the list. And the first thing is if we feel the need to constantly exaggerate situations. If we feel the need to make things look bigger than they actually were, we want to try to make them look funnier or more impressive in some way. Number two is posting things that could be conceived as fishing for compliments. So for example, if someone posts a lovely photo of themselves and your response is, "Oh, I could never look that pretty," or something like that, that could be considered really fishing for a compliment. Number three is if we are trying to constantly one-up people by showing how intelligent we are. Are we trying to showcase our knowledge all the time or show our expertise in some way? Are we trying to make everyone know that we are the absolute expert on this topic? Number four is when you make someone else's post about yourself instead. So an example of this might be if someone is posting about the vacation that they just took to the Grand Canyon and your response is a detailed account about your better vacation to Greece. Number five is when we are intentionally controversial. So it's not that we are sharing our own viewpoint, it's when we really are trying to stir some kind of an argument or make some kind of controversy about something, but we are trying to get people riled up or upset on purpose. Number six is when we are overly flirtatious when it is not appropriate to do so. So that one's pretty straightforward. Number seven is when we feel the need to constantly be posting photos of ourselves. So not only just posting lots and lots and lots of photos of ourselves, but going to places with the sole intent of having those photos taken of ourselves. So it's not really about the experience that we're having, it's about gaining those pictures that we're going to be able to show off to other people. And number eight is trying to get sympathy from others by either oversharing personal information or maybe making a situation sound a little more desperate than it actually is. Now, of course, that does not mean if something actually is sad or traumatic, you shouldn't post it. But if you're posting something with the sole intent of evoking sympathy from people, that probably is a sign of attention seeking. Again, every single one of us has probably done most of these things from time to time, and that is perfectly acceptable. So again, we're looking for that pattern of behavior. And here's two more things that you can look for. If we're feeling that we're constantly seeking validation by looking at the amount of, let's say, likes we get or comments we get on what we have have posted, and really kind of basing our self-worth on, the degree and the amount and the frequency of these things, that can be very problematic as well. We do have to understand that it's human nature to be curious about these things, but if it's really starting to get obsessive for you, and if you're starting to feel that you're basing your self-worth on what other people are saying or how they are responding to your online presence, that's something that you definitely need to think about. We also want to think about how we are feeling when we are online. So if we're starting to feel, anxious or upset or angry or jealous, or feeling like, when we look at other people's profiles, that it makes us feel sad about our own life, or we're wondering why other people get more praise or validation than we are getting, that's also a sign that maybe we need to step away for a little while. So again, it is normal sometimes, but if you're finding that habit of behavior and it seems to be negative behavior, we really need to get to the bottom of why that's happening. So the first thing we need to do is to really understand our own psychology. Why do I feel that way? Why do I not feel enough? Why do I feel that I need this external validation so much? Getting to the bottom of why we feel we need this approval so badly is going to help us really change our behavior. So we can, journal, we can meditate, we can talk to friends, we can talk to a counselor, but we really want to really understand why we are feeling this way about ourselves to begin with. We also need to question whether or not social media as a whole is really servicing us anymore. Is this truly a positive in our life, or is this something that is really constantly leading to negative feelings and negative situations? You want to think about all your existing accounts and see, do I really need all of these accounts? Are these things that are, benefiting my life, or are these things that are really harming me in some way? And once you have determined all that, we can start to think about what we could do that could be constructive to have those same needs met. So if we're trying to feel validated through social media, what other ways could we, in a more healthy way, find that validation that we are looking for? Maybe spending time with people that love you unconditionally, your true friends or your family, or spending more time alone so you can really get used to practicing self-love and self-acceptance. It might mean that you need to adopt new habits or have new hobbies or things that encourage self-growth for you, things that are positive and, again, constructive in your life. You might need to also switch out your environment a little bit, especially if you are spending a lot of time indoors online. So you may need to get outside and do things in nature, or just do things in a different place. But you really want to search your heart and see, what your needs are and how you can meet them without needing the validation from other people. However you feel about yourself this moment, you must understand that you are enough. You are a wonderful person, and you don't need this validation from other people. And you know what? Oftentimes, no matter what we do, we don't get it anyway, because people have preferences. Nothing that we can do will ever ensure people will like us or approve of what we are doing. So we can make our lives look as picture perfect as we can, but still that does not mean that we're going to get the applause that we are seeking. It has to come from inside. So remember, it really doesn't matter the opinions of other people. We don't need to seek their attention. What matters is our opinion of our own self. If we know that we are a good person, that's all that matters. So if you took a look at that list and you feel maybe embarrassed that, oh my goodness, maybe I am taking part in this behavior, you have to just accept the fact that everybody does it sometimes, and there's, again, a reason why we're doing it. So we need to just be patient with ourselves, figure out what that is, and we can absolutely change that behavior if that is something we are interested in doing. We are in complete control of our lives. Remember to love yourself and accept yourself, and realize that nobody is perfect, and you do not need the approval of one other person. So I hope this video was helpful to you, and if it was, please like it and share it with someone else who may need to hear the same message today. Also, again, if you aren't a subscriber, please take a moment and become one, because we definitely want you to be part of our family, and I truly hope you have an extraordinary day.